Us NBA fans inspire the fact of owning a team. Some of us think it's easy, but it's not as easy as how you do it in 2K. Let's see how to run an NBA organization like the Sacramento Kings. Thomas Robinson was a 5-star recruit coming out of Kansas, averaging 17.7 points per game and 11.9 rebounds per game. He was projected to be chosen 2nd overall, but then he slid down to the 5th overall and got picked up by the Malooks, who are the former Sacramento Kings owners. He wasn't really useful because he later got traded for depth in the middle of his rookie season. Some picks that Sacramento missed are Damian Lillard, Andre Drummond, Draymond Green, Harrison Barnes, Jay Crowder, and Chris Middleton. Some undrafted players that the Kings could have gotten instead of Thomas Robinson are JaMychal Green, Kent Bazemore, and Jonathan Simmons. The Sacramento Kings traded down in the 2011 draft by acquiring John Salmons and the rights to Jimmy Fredette. Jimmy Fredette was coming off a Cinderella season in BYU, breaking almost every school record, and Sacramento already had a point guard in Tyreke Evans. Jimmy was also outplayed by the 60th pick named Isaiah Thomas, who will be mentioned later in the video. The Kings also missed out on Kemba Walker, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Vucevic, Tobias Harris, Reggie Jackson, and Jimmy Butler. Jason Thompson averaged 20.4 points per game, 12.1 rebounds per game, and 2.7 blocks per game on the Ryder Bronx. He was selected 12th overall in the 2000 NBA draft by the Kings. The Kings could have gotten Roy Hibbert, Serge Ibaka, DeAndre Jordan, Goran Dragic, and Luka Baumute because Jason Thompson was absolute shite when he was on the Kings. I still don't know why they got this jobber. Yurios Papagiannis was projected to be a mid to late 2nd round pick. Sacramento acquired Phoenix's draft picks and the rights to Bogdan Bogdanovic for Sacramento's 1st round pick. The Suns used the pick on Marquise Chris. Papagiannis was waived on February 8, 2018 after averaging 2.1 points per game and 2.3 rebounds per game by the Kings. He was signed by the Trailblazers later that season and then waived later. He currently plays for Panathinaikos in Greece. The Kings missed out on Pascal Siakam, DeJounte Murray, Malcolm Brogdon, and some familiar undrafted names include Fred VanVleet, David Nwaba, and Bryn Forbes. Before I talk about Willie Cauley-Stein, I'm not saying he's a bust, but he's underperforming for the overall pick he was drafted on. Willie Cauley-Stein came out of Kentucky, and he averaged 8.9 points per game and 6.4 rebounds per game in his last season with Kentucky. This was a questionable move for Sacramento since their star player DeMarcus Cousins, who was a center, was on the team at that time. 3 years later, Willie Cauley-Stein is still on the Kings, averaging 12.8 points per game and 7 rebounds per game. Some notable other draft picks that didn't go well for Sacktown are Nick Stauskas, Spencer Hawes, Ben McLemore, Purvis Ellison, Billy Owens, and Tyreke Evans. And for Tyreke Evans, he has the same thing with Cauley-Stein. He's underperforming for the draft pick that he was picked on. In 2014, the Kings traded away Isaiah Thomas to the Phoenix Suns for the rights to Alex Oriaki. The Kings got a bum who never and will never play in the NBA, and Isaiah Thomas went on to be an all-star and averaging 28.9 points per game and 5.9 assists per game. In 2015, Nick Stauskas, Carl Landry, Jason Thompson, and a 2019 unprotected 1st round pick were traded to the process for Arturas Gudaitis and Luka Mitrovic and a future 2nd round pick. The Kings checked the following players' contracts to sign Rondo and Marco Bellinelli, who are no longer part of the team. Stauskas is in Portland now, Landry is an old man, and Jason Thompson is currently playing for Sichuan Blue Whales in China. In 2017, Kings traded away DeMarcus Cousins to New Orleans for Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, and Langston Galloway. Listen, the Kings traded away Boogie, an elite player, for a potential player in Buddy Hield, and at that time a crap Tyreek Evans. Buddy Hield is a decent, but Tyreek and Langston Galloway aren't part of the team anymore. Langston Galloway's in Detroit, and Tyreek Evans recently joined the Pacers after an amazing season with the Grizzlies. Boogie's was part of Golden State now. Speaking of that, fuck you Boogie, you emotional lesbian, and fuck you too pencilhead Adam Silver, fuck you too. Cunts. Now a huge offseason mistake was waiving Hassan Whiteside. Hassan was drafted by the Kings with the 33rd pick in the 2010 NBA Draft. Basically, the Kings shat on Hassan and was waived on July 16, 2012, after playing 19 games with Sacktown. He played in the D-League, or currently the G-League, and overseas. In the 2014-15 season, Hassan Whiteside had a career year, averaging a double-double. 4 years on, he's still with the Heat and possibly their best player right now. Mickey Moore was just some bum at the end of his career that was signed to a 3-year, $18 million contract by the Maloofs. His best year in Sacktown was 8.5 points per game and 6 rebounds per game. That's basically it, no one cares about him. In the summer of 2016, the Sacramento Kings signed Aaron Aflalo to a 2-year, $25 million contract. He played 61 games with the Kings and only averaged 8.4 points per game. You know there's a problem when Aaron Aflalo, someone is getting paid $12.5 million a year, and they only average 8.4 points per game. That means that guy's crap. Nemanja Bjelica is a solid player in the NBA. He's a good shooter but not needed for the Kings. I know that he still hasn't played an official regular season game with the Kings, but they already have 3 power forwards that are named Marvin Bagley, Zach Randolph, and Scala Bicier. Bjelica is also getting paid $20.5 million for 3 years. Last season he averaged 6.8 points per game and 4.1 rebounds per game. The Kings really needed a small forward or wing player, not another big man such as Nemanja Bjelica. Vivek Ranadive is someone who shouldn't be anywhere close to a sports team. The first problem occurred when Ranadive hired his right man, GM Pete D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro's time was filled with ridiculing Ranadive, from firing multiple coaches such as Mike Malone, Tyrone Corbin, and George Karl. D'Alessandro had a tendency of leaking negative stories to the press about players and members such as Vivek Ranadive, Boogie, and Mike Malone. D'Alessandro was also responsible for trading away Isaiah Thomas, as mentioned before in this video. You may have thought that Ranadive learned from his lessons with D'Alessandro by hiring a GM that can actually lead the way for the Kings. Nope. He brought in Rob Hennigan 2.0, aka Vlade Divac, or for some people that know him as the Vlad Father. Vlade Divac had the reputation of giving fuck all to the point of not getting any help for Boogie. Let's keep Rudy Gay on the team when he's a shot chucker and an inefficient player. We need to draft more centers. Let's get Willie Cauley-Stein and Yurios Papagiannis on our team now. In fact, let's sign Costa Kufas to a 4-year, $33 million contract. When your team sucks, trade down for more picks and devote them for more big men such as Scala Bicier. Vladdy's making mistakes left and right, and Ranadive pitched on a 4-on-5 fucking defense, leaving one player to fucking cherry pick. You know this is a recipe for a disaster. After all, Ranadive is already a walking out because of his decision to purchase the Kings, and selling the share of the Golden State Warriors. That guy's a fucking walking L.